I know all of us want to be perfect. I want to be perfect. You want to be perfect. But here's the thing. Perfection does not exist. It's an ideal. It's a bar that we set for ourselves that we will absolutely never reach. What if instead of being in the pursuit of perfection, we were in the pursuit of joy? Hello, my name is Callie. Welcome back to Still Growing, a video series where I talk about life and feelings and all kinds of things on my journey of growth and improvement. This week I'm looking a little rough, and that's okay because we're not in the pursuit of perfection because I will never be perfect. Am I breaking out a little bit? Yes. Is my hair a little greasy? Yes. Is my room a mess off camera? Yes. That's okay because I'm a human and humans aren't perfect and we just have to do the best that we can with what we got. I really want to talk about perfection because it is near and dear to my heart. I have touched on it a little bit here and there in my other videos, but right now, especially with the fact that I just lost my job, I feel the walls closing in on my mind of putting that pressure on myself to be perfect and do things the absolute right way. And I think that's really unproductive. I know so many of us have been taught to chase after perfection in our work life and in our relationships, in the way that we feel and the way that we look. We've been taught to chase perfection. But perfection is not the answer to feeling satisfied with your life. It's not, because it's an ideal that you'll never reach. What if the answer, instead of feeling satisfied in your life, is chasing your joy and your happiness and doing the things that make you feel good? I find myself in the perfection cycle of, okay, once I reach this thing, then I'll be happy, then I'll be good. But it's just a toxic cycle, because once I get there, first of all, there's no guarantee that I'll be happy, but usually when I get there and reach that goal, then there's just another goal to reach. And it's a continuous cycle of never feeling like I am good enough for myself. And that's because I've been chasing something that is just not possible. I will never be perfect. The videos that I post will never be perfect. The way that I say things will never be perfect. The way that I look will never be perfect. I need to throw the idea of perfection out the window. So do you, because it's something that you will never reach. Now, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to do the best you can on things. If I right now, right, I'm like starting to do some acting things, and I'm really in my head about like doing it the right way. That's been a part of my life for a long time of wanting to do things the right and correct way. The majority of my life was because I didn't want to get in trouble. Let me do this school assignment the right way so I can get the best grade so I don't get in trouble with my parents, or let me clean my room the right way so that I won't get in trouble. So that was like the majority of my life, the fear of getting in trouble. But now as an adult, I don't have that fear. Well, I do still have that fear, but I have to remind myself that no one's going to yell at me. No one's going to get mad at me. I'm an adult. Like, my parents aren't going to show up and ground me for like not doing things the right way. Part of being an adult is stumbling through things and figuring it out as you go and failing so that you can grow and learn. If everything was perfect all the time, like, what a boring life. The beauty of life and the beauty of people comes from flaws. Like, I truly think what makes me beautiful is not just the way that I look. Obviously, I think that I am pretty somewhat. But I really think what makes me a well-rounded, beautiful person is everything about me. The way that I do things, the quirky little things that I do, the flaws that I have, the way that I handle, when I screw up, all of it. everything about me makes me a beautiful person, including all of the things that are not perfect. That's where the real beauty in life is from the imperfection. That's where you find joy in life, is the imperfection. Joy isn't about everything going perfectly. It's about embracing the little moments of failure and oopsies and learning moments and all of it. It's about trying a new recipe and making a mess in the kitchen and maybe it not going perfectly, or it's about going to a bar and trying to do a line dance when you don't know all the steps. Like that, the mess of life is what brings joy. Without failure, there is no joy. It's like there's like a saying, I think, where like if everything was perfect, or if there was nothing bad in the world, if there's nothing bad in the world, there also could be nothing good, because you would have nothing to compare it to. And I'm really stretching here, but I'm trying to make my point across that without the failures of life, you don't get to experience joy. And so striving for perfection is inconducive to finding real joy and real satisfaction in life. And like I said, I'm not saying that you shouldn't set goals for yourself and push yourself and challenge yourself to grow, to get better. I'm just saying that instead of striving for perfection, lean into the imperfection, the failures, and use every moment as a chance to find joy instead of striving for this thing that you'll never reach, perfection. You will never ever reach that. And trying to strive for that really, really puts you in such a negative headspace, because you'll keep failing. The goal of perfection, you'll keep failing it, and then you'll keep getting down on yourself, like, why can't I do that? Why can't I just be perfect? Da, 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 da. And it really, like, puts you in this headspace of, like, I'm not good enough, I can't do it. And that is inconducive to growth, it's inconducive to joy, it's doesn't serve you, it's not helpful. Let it go. Perfection is something that you will never reach. I know that I'm like probably preaching to the choir. I feel like a lot of people know that perfection is a thing that you'll never reach, and we say that, but like inside, you have to remind yourself in those moments where you feel that, like, the worms in your brain telling you like you need to be perfect, or getting really down on yourself when you fail. You have to remind yourself in that moment that perfection is not what I'm after. Joy is what I'm after. And I know some people might be like, well, I don't find joy in failing. And to that I say, challenge yourself to start enjoying failure. That's literally the only way that you will grow. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it doesn't feel good to fail, to screw things up, to make a mess of things, to hurt somebody, to whatever. It doesn't feel good. But without doing all of those things, without failing, you will never grow and change and learn. And you will never be able to experience the joy of growth as a person. God, it's actually so joyous to see how far I've come just, a few years ago. I recently went back and read through my journal. There was a period in my life where I was journaling a lot because I was really depressed and feeling stuck and unsure about what my future is and all the things. And I was journaling a lot in that moment because I needed a way to get out my feelings, and I wanted to be able to look back on those times and know that I got through it. And that's exactly what I did. The other day I went through and I read my journal, and it was hard to read those things and see how hard it was for me at the time and how much I was going through. But also it was extremely joyous to know, looking back on that Callie just a few years ago, how far I've come. I was living at home with my parents. I had just graduated college. I had no idea where I was going in life, how I was going to start acting, how I was even going to be able to move out of my parents' house, how I was going to pay bills. I needed to buy a car eventually, and I didn't know how I was going to be able to do that. I mean, I was so in such a bad, dark place. Also, mentally, I didn't feel confident in myself and my abilities, in the way that I looked, in the way that I held myself, and being able to look back on that, Callie, and see how far I've come. Not only am I not living with my parents anymore, but I've moved all the way to LA to chase my acting dreams. That Callie 2 years ago would be absolutely floored with where I'm at in life now. So it brought me so much joy to see how much change I've done over just the past few years. And if I was already perfect back then, I would be missing all the joy of growth, all the joy that I have experienced and how much I've changed as a person. And I hope 2 years from now, 3 years from now, a year from now, I hope I can look back on these videos and go, wow, I've changed so much more. I've gained so much more experience. I've learned so much more. And to experience that joy. I'm excited for that too. Perfection does not bring you anything except for like negative feelings and feeling bad about yourself. It's really like, it's so interesting how we live in a society. It's really interesting how society tells us our whole lives to strive for perfection. It's actually like really interesting, and like I want to do some reading about that. Maybe it has to do with capitalism. I don't know. But it's really interesting how we are taught from such a young age to strive for perfectionism in everything, in literally everything, schoolwork, in relationships, in the way we dress, the way we look, the way we feel, everything. We're taught to strive for perfection, all while knowing that perfection is never possible. It's never possible. And I just want to encourage you to, instead of trying to chase perfection and getting in that toxic cycle of never being able to reach it, and once you hit that goal of, okay, once I get there, then I'll be happy, but then you're just going to hit another goal, and so on and so forth. It's just toxic. It's a cycle that leads to nothing but bad things. I want to encourage you, instead of doing that, find the moments of joy and chase those things, and those joyous moments in life where you're chasing those things are not going to be perfect. They're going to be bumps along the way, and you're going to stumble your way through it, but that is how you find the beauty of life. And I don't know everything. I'm only 24. I'm not some a wise, all-seeing being. But like I've said a million times, when I make these videos, I'm making it for myself more than anything. I just lost my job. I'm trying to break into the acting field. I'm trying to get another job. I'm doing a lot of things. I'm going to all these events by myself for the first time. Like, there's so many things that I'm experiencing right now that are uncomfortable and making me want to strive for perfection. And I hear that voice right now, the walls closing in, the worms in my brain being like, you didn't do that right. You must do it this way. You have to like research a bunch so you do it properly. And like, although that is important to research how to do things properly, I am doing it to an extent where I'm like, I'm making myself stuck. Because the more I worry about being perfect, the more fear I have about just doing the thing. That's why I'm posting these YouTube videos. They're very unedited. They're very just me like talking. There's no script. I'm just talking. And that's why I'm doing these videos, because it's not perfect, but I'm bypassing, I've found a hack. I'm bypassing that thing in my brain where it's like, that's not perfect. I'm trying to push past that and just post it anyway, because this is what I like to do. I like to just chat, and I like to make these videos to remind myself, because I sure as hell cannot sit here and be like, don't strive for perfection, and then, on the other side, tell myself that I need to strive for perfection. This is a way of holding myself accountable. And it's also a great lesson in, like, things don't have to be perfect. I've been posting videos of just me, like, very unedited. Like, are they to the level that I maybe, like, dream they could be? No. But are people still watching them? Yes. And are people still resonating with things that I have to say? Yes. And are people still touched by me and, like, what I have to say and my story and all of that? Yes. And that's proof enough that, like, it doesn't need to be perfect. It brings me joy to post to YouTube and stay consistent and have something that's a creative project that's fully mine. And so, although it's not perfect, and although these videos could be better, just like everything in life always could be better, I'm still posting it because it brings me joy, and it doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't. Joy is about embracing the process, right? Like, not about the end result. It's about enjoying the journey. Once we stop obsessing about the end result and how perfect it can be, we can then start enjoying, like, the journey of getting there. And that's how I feel like we'll truly find joy and peace and happiness and satisfaction in our life. All right, that was just a quick little video. Next week, I am posting a get ready with me for a night out. So get ready for that. It's going to be a very different vibe from most of these videos that I post. But like I said, I'm following my joy. And my joy is posting whatever I want to post and not really worrying about the end result. And so, yeah, thanks so much. I know I posted that last video about me getting fired, and I am absolutely, like, blown away by the reaction of that video. Truly, like, touches my heart how many people commented their own stories and, like, encouraging words. I mean, I just can't believe it. And I know I say this at the end of every one of my videos. Starting YouTube was one of the best decisions I've ever made for myself. It has brought me so much joy, and none of these videos are perfect. And that's proof enough that chasing perfection is not worth it. It will bring you nothing. I'm posting these videos and they are not perfect, but they have brought me so much joy. And so thank you so much for watching these videos. It means so much to me, really. All right, I appreciate you guys. I will see you next Monday.